I think we're live. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to Voice Notes from a Friend Live. I'm here with my friend Sara Kuburic. A little funny story. We were at a breakfast together and she introduced herself and she pronounced her last name differently. And I was like, oh, have I been pronouncing your name incorrectly this whole time? Turns out I had not. You just anglicize the pronunciation for people to make it easier for them. But I actually think it's important to pronounce people's names properly or try. You don't have to get it right, but I think it's important to try. Anyway, that's a total aside story. If you are new to me, I'm Vanessa Cornell. I am the voice behind Voice Notes from a Friend. It's a weekly 5 to 8 minute voice note, unscripted, straight from the heart commentary on something that I've noticed in the world that I hope is helpful to you. This live series is about talking to my friends about those voice notes, those ideas, because I have so many of these rich conversations. I mean, you and I, Sara, can talk for hours and hours and hours.
We do.
Yeah, we do. We do talk for hours and hours and hours. And I thought how fun to do one of these conversations with you. So if you are not familiar with Sara, she is the Millennial Therapist on Instagram. She does so many other fabulous, incredible things. She's written this amazing book, It's On Me, and has a wonderful Substack, which actually ties in very, very well to today's conversation. So what are we talking about today? We're going to be talking about voice note number 5, which is called What to Do with the Manspreaders. And if you haven't listened to it, I'm going to give you a very short synopsis of what I talk about. I was sitting at a Knicks game. Those seats are kind of close, and there was a big guy next to me. And I remember him kind of brushing up against me and thinking to myself, oh, that's a very uncomfortable friction moment where that guy's kind of bumping up next to me. In order to reduce that friction, I could just move over and make myself smaller. And then I remember thinking, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And in that very small moment, it was almost like a tiny microcosm of something so much bigger. That thing where we make ourselves smaller so that we're not uncomfortable and the other people are not uncomfortable, and we reduce our friction. And in the pursuit of reducing that friction, we just shrink to accommodate everybody else. So I'm not going to ask you as a therapist, an existential therapist. I'm going to ask you as a girl. If you're on an airplane and there's that armrest situation, particularly with a man, what's your relationship with the armrest situation?
I love that. I think I have this unspoken rule of if you are in the middle seat, you deserve both. You deserve that because you have the most uncomfortable seat. And if you're on the side, you have one of the armrests. So if I'm in the middle and there's a man next to me who's trying to take that seat, I use my elbows. I am not ashamed because I'm I am on this flight. I'm in the middle. This is unspoken etiquette of flying. And so there's a bit of that. And it is uncomfortable, especially if it is a dude. And so I think it's almost like playing chicken with discomfort in terms of I will just also put my arm there. And oftentimes when you take up space, people let you.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. I think a lot of individuals, myself in particular, I'm waiting for people to give me space.
Yeah.
And I just realized over the years that space is created and space is taken. And if I wait, I'm going to be waiting a really, really long time and it might never happen. And so that's sort of that experience with the armrest of where I'll just place it gently. I will not elbow them out of the way. I'll place it gently and we'll brush arms. And then I'm going to be this is me taking the space. What are you going to do about it? And I think it's sort of an invitation, almost like a conversation that we're having.
Totally. And I love that you're I'll use my elbows. Because people think of I'll use my elbows as an unattractive quality in a woman. And I think that's part of the problem, right? Part of the problem is that using our elbows and taking up space is seen as aggressive or, not the way you're supposed to be, not good girl, but you can use your elbows in an assertive way that's not nasty or mean. You can just say here I am. or imposing. Like,
Yeah.
here I am.
When I hear an experiment I did, it's so funny.
Yeah,
I
I love
I
it.
listened to your, voice note, and I was like, "Oh my god, this feels so resonant." So, I'm in New York City right now, and I was so tired of people bumping into me. And I was like, "Hey, Sarah, what would happen," and especially in, like, really crowded spaces, "if you just had better posture and decided not to dodge, particularly men? What if you just decided to walk straight, and if they bump into you, they have now chosen to bump into you because you're not moving?"
Yeah.
And I remember talking to my partner about it later where I was like, "Everyone moved."
Yep.
Every single person moved out of the way, and it's not like I was bulldozing and, like, trying to get into people's ways, but I was just, like, so determined to take up my space on the street and just walk, and not a single person bumped into me. The men were shocked. There were a couple that looked incredibly shocked because they saw the determination in my face. I'm like, "I will
Not
run into
fuck
you."
with me.
Yeah, do not fuck with me, especially because he was like it was on my side of the street, like, it was exactly like, they were cutting me off, it's not like I was cutting them off and then was trying to pretend that it was some sort of, like, authenticity. It was
Yeah.
like, actually, they were in my way, and it was amazing because not a single person ran, everyone moved out of my way, and I was like, "Oh, this is how it works. How interesting."
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting. It's like it's almost like you're a woman standing her ground,
Yeah.
and it's so powerful. And I love I love how you call it an experiment because these experiments take these concepts that we've heard so many times, right? There's so many times when we're like, you got to take up space, you can't keep shrinking yourself. But what does that actually look like in life, right? Like, how can we actually, like, I know my mind believes it, but how can I actually convince my entire being and my nervous system that this is true, that I'm allowed to take up space? And it's in these little practices. So I was sitting at that Knicks game and I like literally stood my ground and like was distracted because the game was really, really fun, but I was like, "I am okay with the pressure on my arm." And
Mhm,
the guy who's actually a good guy, and he was really large,
mhm.
was very respectful of my space because I stood that ground. And then I was like, "Okay, dude, you're really big and I'm not that big. I'll give you a little more space."
Yeah.
I was like, "Do you know what I mean?" I was like, "It's
Yeah.
okay." Like, I don't have to it's this interesting energy of, like, standing in your power and your groundedness rather than, like, fighting. I mean, there's times for fighting too, but I think that groundedness, like, your, like, determination in your eyes where you're like, "I'm just not gonna move, and let me see what you do," is so powerful rather than being like, you know, "You're gonna
It's
bump me, I'm gonna bump you back," you know?
it's really not about aggression or harm or even like trying to prove a point for the sake
Yeah.
of proving a point. It is just about existing. And truly, what I think most women want is respect. That's what I
Yeah.
hear from your story. It's like this man realized your existence. He understood he was invading your space. He uncomfortably shifted, trying to give you room. And the second you realized that he was willing to do that and respect your space, after a while, you're like, I snuggled up with my husband and gave him a bit more space. But that's because you're not trying to prove a point and make a 6 foot something man sit uncomfortably during a Knicks game. You're just trying to be like, hey, see me and respect my space and respect the fact that I exist. And then there is obviously a give and take that I think is really humane and beautiful. And we want to recognize each other and try to sort of make it as this existence as comfortable as it can be for each other. I don't think it's
Yeah,
about I want you to be uncomfortable so that I can feel comfortable. I don't think it's about that most of the time anyways.
totally, and, I wanna talk a little bit about the discomfort because a lot of times we just, like listen, not just our generation, but the younger generation, they're like, "Let me flee from discomfort as quickly as
Mm.
possible," particularly through the phone, right? Like, "I have an uncomfortable feeling, let me flee from it." But that discomfort is so helpful because when we're trying to get from a place where we've just been doing the same thing over and over, like we've been shrinking, 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 that discomfort is such a little telltale sign of like, you go, you're doing it. I think it's like a rebellion almost. Like I feel a lot of rebellion energy in me because I never really rebelled as a child. I don't know, were you a rebel as a child?
Oh.
No, no.
I was such a square. I was like literally keeping my parents account. No, I wasn't. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
had no rebellion bone in my body ever. And so I do like it. And I do think it's coming out more in my adulthood.
Yeah, I know.
That
Both of us
kind
have
of
talked
stuff.
about this, right? Where we're like, but by the way,
Yeah.
our rebellion is like
Oh,
walking straight down the street, like, woo.
totally. It's like, I'm not going to shift in my seat. That's the type of stuff we're talking about here.
You know,
But I think you just
such dorky rebellion, by the
oh my
way.
god.
So
I
dorky.
I think it's very liberal to call it a rebellion actually.
True.
But I I think the discomfort conversation is a really, really important one. I
Mhm.
remember during my doctorate, a professor was talking about theory of change. And it was just so interesting because he said, like, you need discomfort at minimum to
Yeah.
change. At minimum. And then, a lot of people will change through pain or even suffering. And he's like, you don't have to change in these extreme circumstances, but discomfort is so helpful. And it does, as you said, it signals something to you. It signals that this is a new thing that you're trying. It signals that something is not okay. It's one of the best messengers. And so when we shut it down, we don't know what the message is saying, or
Yeah.
we don't notice when we're pushing those boundaries or trying to rewrite those patterns. And so I do think discomfort is our best friend. And as a society right now, I don't think that's our attitude towards it.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of think it needs to be rebranded. Like, I
Mhm.
think discomfort needs to be rebranded as, like, change activation. That's definitely not can you tell I'm not a branding person? That's definitely not
Change
it.
activation. I love it.
Change act like, the closest I've come is discomfort as, like, rebellion, as, like, the excitement of rebellion, because I feel like it needs to be rebranded because it is kind of the gateway, and it at least makes me feel like I'm moving towards something. I'm progressing in some way. And these little moments where I get to activate that discomfort, if in my mind I rebrand it as rebellion slash changing, evolving, growing, So let's rebrand discomfort.
I think so too. And I think it's something we should strive for to an extent. Like,
Yeah.
I will now do things that make me uncomfortable just to be like, okay, this is your opportunity to grow. It makes you uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar, because you're
Yep.
not sure how to act in that space. You're not sure how to complete this project. But it doesn't mean that you don't know how to do it. It doesn't mean you can't grow into it. And so for me, I have noticed that when my body's like, just say no to that opportunity or just say no to that thing, I'll be like, oh, that's discomfort and I don't want to experience it. And now I'm going to sign up because I think that's what life is all about. It's
Totally.
growing. Mhm.
In the right doses. I have to titrate it. I'm like, I do one
Yeah.
very uncomfortable thing per week, but not more than that. You know?
Love that. Like
Like,
okay, there's like a
I could
limit.
yeah, I could do, like, lots of little uncomfortable
Yeah.
things, but, like, one big uncomfortable
Oh, yeah.
one big thing where I know my whole system's gonna be all nerve-sighted and everything, 1 a week. I could probably do 2 a week on a regular basis now, but when I started, it was, like, 1 a week, because you gotta come down off of that.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking
Mhm.
small things. But like if you're
Yeah.
doing a massive presentation and you're someone who's scared of public speaking, yeah, maybe one a month is enough.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
I don't think you
Fair.
need to do like 2 a week, but I do think it's and as you said, there's hierarchy of discomfort, and I just think it's about being friends with it rather than shying away from it or allowing it to make decisions for you that keep you small.
Yeah. Okay, something we also talk about all the time is how incredibly impatient I am. And I feel like over the last couple of years I've made so much progress personally on getting out of the sort of small safe corner,
Mhm.
but I still feel like it's so slow. And I'm like trying to crack the code on how do I just like I want to skip all the steps. I wanna skip all the steps. I wanna get to this place where I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm taking up all this space. This is who I am. This is where I belong."
Mm.
I probably can't skip all the steps, but I really want to.
My god, do I wanna skip the steps. I'm also
Right?
incredibly impatient in, like, all areas of my life. Like,
Um,
I this is no we're, like, bragging. We're like, "We're so impatient." And I think it's a good thing and a bad thing in terms of it can really motivate you, but then it can also be incredibly unrealistic and then disappoint
yeah,
you,
yeah,
make you frustrated. So what I've realized, or what I wanted to do, was try to enjoy the steps. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
cliche, but it's like this step is such a cool experience that I might not get to experience again. This weird in between that I call a pause or a limbo. And that's how I used to sort of phrase it when I didn't get to my goal immediately.
Mhm.
Um, and it's such an unhealthy way to life, because I'm saying I'm putting my life on pause until I get this goal. Like it's almost like I cease to exist or live. And so I've been like, how can I romanticize this moment? How can I
Mm.
romanticize this in between or really enjoy it, so that I still am living my life as I'm trying to accomplish these things? And then obviously throughout time, I sort of changed my relationship to accomplishments in general. But I do, that's how I've coped with it, is try to
Yeah.
romanticize it and enjoy it. Have you found ways that you cope?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, what happens to me is I feel like, gosh, I made so much progress. I'm so much more confident. I'm so much more willing to put myself out there. And then the sort of like old, boring stories just that I thought I let go of are back. And I'm like, Jesus, like I have let go of you so many times. You're so boring already. Are you back? I think the way I think about it is it's got to get boring for you to finally let it go. It's got to come back so many times and you gotta tell it it's boring so many times before it finally is like, "She's so bored of me, I'm not even gonna try anymore." Or I'm gonna try, but she's gonna ignore me anyway, so I'm not gonna try that hard. That's kind of how I think about it, like, I
I
mean,
love that. I love this so much. And also you're talking about not just accomplishment, you're talking about like impatient about self-growth almost, which
yeah,
is really beautiful.
that's what I'm talking about. I'm not even talking about, like, impatient about, like, achieving goals. I'm
Yeah.
impatient to stop being held back by these things that are like, I feel like they're dragging me down, and I just want to shake them off completely. But maybe I think about it as like every time I shake a little more off, it's this thing where it's like, really? I've done this so many times and I'm nervous. Really? I've done this so many times and I still afterwards think to myself, I don't know if that was any good and people aren't going to like it. It's like, really? Again? That's the part I'm really bored of. I'm really ready to get over it. I don't know if I'll ever fully let it go, but I'm ready to, man.
I so love that, because the less energy you give it, the less energy it has to come back to you. That's
Yeah.
like, it's almost like you're not feeding it. And I love this like cool girl, like, oh my God, I'm so bored of you. Really? So I think that's genius. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna run
Yeah.
with it. And then something that I've been doing when I have those thoughts, or like I'll catch myself being like, oh my God, did I upset this person? Did I say some, like, I'll replay the conversation and be like, oh my God, I like it really, could they have misunderstood something? And there'll be that
Mhm.
anxiety that comes back, or like, are they happy? And then
Yeah, I have that one. I have that one
oh
too,
my
for
God,
sure.
like, it's so, so bored of it. I'm so tired of it. Where I'm hoping that people who are upset will just tell me, and if they don't, then we're not that close and it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
But I sort of just told myself, you have to stop thinking about it. I like it almost like an avoidance, but like stopping that thought pattern in terms of, think about something else now, because it is just consuming so much of your time and energy. There's nothing you can do about it. And so I have this new motto in my life that if it's a problem, I'll deal with it when it becomes a problem.
I love
Till
that.
then, I'm going to assume it's not a problem.
Yeah.
That's because I can't spend months, hours thinking about something, and most of the time, guess what? It's not a problem. And
Yeah.
so I'm just kinda, I used my past history to be like, "Here's data. It's probably not a problem, and if it is, I trust in you and I believe that you're gonna solve it. But
Yeah.
until then, please relax, please take care of yourself, and please think about something else."
Yeah, I have a completely unrelated rabbit hole going down the rabbit hole thought pattern I go down when I'm in the car with my kids. I go down this, like, if we were in a crash, how would I get them out and in what order? And I could go for a while on that, and I have every time I catch myself in that, I'm like, "Not ever gonna happen the way I expect it to.
Yeah.
Don't need to pre-plan this," and I'm like, "Yep, nope,
Yeah,
nope,
exactly.
nope, absolutely unhelpful." But I love this idea of the applying it to when you're like, "Oh, could I have offended someone? Did I make a mistake? Is this person upset with me?" Because I actually think that one is a huge obstacle to sort of getting to where you wanna be, that let me go so slowly and carefully to make sure I check. with every single person that at the end they will still like me and maybe like me more than before. That one's a big one for me. The like, because if you want to go forge ahead and do big things, like let's take an extreme example, like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Like, if you wanna go do I'm not advocating for Elon Musk. I'm
Yeah.
saying I'm
Yeah.
saying it's an example of someone who is like, "I am doing what I'm doing. What you think, how you think of me is irrelevant to me." So, okay, I'm not gonna go do whatever I want and how it impacts people is irrelevant to me, but I'm at
Yeah.
the opposite end of the extreme,
Yeah.
where I'm like, let me go so slowly and carefully to ensure that I never make a mistake with this respect. And of course, no matter how slowly and carefully I go, of course I can make a mistake. Of course I can hurt people. Of course people can be unhappy with me even if I haven't done anything that I consider something, you know, to repair or that was wrong. But that thing where it's like, let me just make sure I solve for everyone's perception of me all the time is like a straitjacket.
Imagine if we use that energy for better things.
I know.
Imagine. And that's not to say we want to become inconsiderate
But
individuals. I think
I'm not
that's
I'm not sure that's our problem.
I don't think that's our problem at all. I but I but I do think that it is such and here's the thing where as a woman in particular, you get applauded for doing this.
Yes,
And so
yes.
you actually if you grow up having the tendency to make sure everyone's okay and then everyone applauds you or reinforces it as like, yeah, that is your job. It is so hard to break free of that.
Yeah,
And then to be like, I want to achieve this, which is such an inherently or seemingly inherent selfish pursuit, then you have people being like, they're inconsiderate, they're aggressive, and they're selfish. And that is a really difficult thing to receive when you don't
yeah,
perceive yourself that way or that doesn't align with like who you think you are as a person. And so I think there is some learning and growing in terms of like other people's opinions don't actually speak to who I am or reflect who I am all the time. They need to be willing to see me. And if they truly see me, then I'm so happy to take their feedback. But if I
yeah.
see that they're just projecting on me, then I need to say no thank you to their feedback.
Totally, totally. But I just want to acknowledge if any of you are the same as me, where somebody thinking poorly of me
Mhm.
on the like discomfortometer is
Yeah.
my very least favorite feeling as a human being.
Yeah.
It's beyond any other bad feeling as a human being for me. Obviously, everybody's different, but for me, people being like, she's a bad person, or she did something that was bad, or I don't even think I don't like her.
Yeah.
Really, like I don't mind. I don't like her.
Mhm.
I'm chill with I don't like her, but
Mhm.
she did something that I judge as like morally bad. Oh my God, it's like
I'm
a dagger
uncomfortable.
in my heart. Like that's literally my least favorite feeling as a human being.
Oh, I would even add no, I would agree. It's like my top 2. I can't think of another one, but I'm sure there's something else
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But, like, I think people misunderstanding me is really
Mhm.
close up there. I think being misunderstood is a really big thing for me, and I think it's because it's like I tried pretty hard. And I also
Yeah,
respect individuals who will be like, "Hey, I am hurt by this," or "Hey, I'm reading this way, but I wanna give you the benefit of the doubt." Like, did
yeah,
you really mean that? Did you really like, that's how I operate, so when someone is really willing to write you off or, like, create narratives around one thing that you did, and maybe it was a mistake, maybe it wasn't,
yeah,
that's so hurtful to me where I'm like, "Really? Is that what we're reduced to? A single moment, a single communication?" And I just think humanity is worth more than that. And so it actually really upsets me. And I'm actually more okay when people are like, no, I get you and I don't like you. I'm like, okay.
totally.
But when it's like, I feel really misunderstood and you don't like me, that for me personally is such a painful experience.
I'm totally with you on that. That's like the epic version of,
Yeah.
and I actually have a specific memory of being in an airport
Yeah.
and being on a line that it was a long line and everyone was really cranky and everyone was on edge. And I think that someone thought I cut the line when I hadn't.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
And they just didn't like they didn't want me to be like, no, 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 they just didn't want to hear from me. But I stood in that line knowing that the person who thought I cut the line was like glaring at me. And this, I don't know how many years ago this was. It was probably
About it?
2 decades ago, and I still remember the feeling of like the this is this misunderstood thing on such a tiny scale, but the thing that it activated in my body where I was like, oh my God, this person thinks I'm a nasty line cutter. And I'm not. I swear I'm not. Let me prove it to
Yeah.
you.
I'll go to the back of the line. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me explain everything who I am to prove to you that I'm not. And I was like, it's some random person I will never see again. And that person does not remember. That person forgot 2 seconds after it happened. But 2 decades later, I'm still thinking about this. So those are the moments where I really grab onto them and I'm like, okay, this is my work.
Yeah. Gotta figure this out. Yeah.
This is my work. Like, it is okay for that person to think I'm a line. It seems like so silly, but it takes us back to the beginning where it's these little moments that give us an opportunity to practice these bigger concepts that are sometimes hard to figure out, hard to grasp, hard to implement. And I think these little chances in life are priceless. And I actually think small things like taking up space in a seat on an airplane can finally shift that belief. Like a one airplane ride can kind of really shift a lot. Or walking down the street, grounded in your power.
I agree. I think people often ask me, like, how do I become the version of myself that I want to be?
Yeah,
They're expecting these like big decisions and big moments. And in reality, my philosophy is always it is the
that's right.
daily practices and decisions from do you have matcha or do you have coffee? Do you wake up? Do you sleep in? Do you talk to this person? Do you confront this, you know, conflict head on? Do you take the seat? Do you take your space? And I do think it's these daily intentional decisions that will ultimately create the version of you that you want to be. It's not these huge ass decisions that we think determine everything. It truly is the small moments where we take what we believe or who we want to become and put them into practice.
Yep. Yep. And when we make decisions and later we're like, "Ooh, I should have made a different one," to forgive quickly and start again. I was
Oh,
talking to Yeah, I was talking to my son about this who's he's at college.
yay.
His life is no longer dictated by his mom, thank God, and he's really trying to get good habits, and he'll be great for a while, and then it'll kind of fall apart because he's 19, and he's an artist, you know? And I had this conversation with him, it was so beautiful, and he's like, I've decided not to beat myself up about the fact that I fell off the wagon." I was like, "Great, don't beat yourself up. When you notice that you've fallen off, just notice and get back on. Just notice and get back on over and over and over again." Because I think sometimes we think like, oh, it's in the daily, but now I got to do it perfectly. Now I got to do the daily perfectly, which that's not the gig. Like we'll never achieve that. And that energy of beating ourselves up also is energy we can reallocate to something else.
No, I think mistakes are just lessons if you choose to learn from them. If you don't choose to learn from them, then maybe they're just mistakes. But
Yeah.
I feel like if you take a moment, it's just information. And I truly do see everything I do as information of like information of my values, information of my fatigue levels, information about what I want to try and do next. And so, yeah, someone in the comments said any book recommendation. So I'm going to shamelessly plug myself in. I do the book
Definitely.
that Vanessa was talking about, It's On Me, is about self-loss. It is about creating the sense of self that you always wanted to have. And so some of the ideas is spoken about are in there.
And I actually really love your take because there's a sense of personal responsibility in there, which some people could think of as like personal responsibility means like it's up to me, but it's also opportunity because it's up to you. Like you can do it. You can change it. You have the power. Like personal responsibility to me means you have the power to change it.
liberation. To me, it is
Yeah.
almost the definition of freedom too. Like I
Yeah.
think responsibility and freedom are so interconnected. The more, freedom you have, the more responsibility you have. And when you have, responsibility, you have freedom, because
Totally.
people who don't have freedom don't have responsibility. And so it's this really fascinating sort of connection between the two. And it never comes from a place of shame. Like when I say it's on you, I'm not like, get
Yes.
better. I'm literally like, you can create and do anything you want. And it is within your power. So take it.
Yeah.
Just take it. Don't let life dictate every single thing about you, but co-create it and allow your decisions and your efforts and your intention to get you to where you want to go. And so I love that you see it that way, because I don't think a lot of people do. And I just think that responsibility is sexy. And I think
Yeah.
it's so liberating. And it
Yeah.
just means that you're gonna try and fail, but you're gonna do it on your own terms, and I think that's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. No one's coming to save you.
No one is coming to save you. That's a hard pill to swallow, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is hard.
That's not a fun reality.
That is not a fun reality, and I think that also happens a lot in, 30s and 40s as parents get older as well, where maybe, you had your parents be able to swoop in, and then as that relationship with our parents changes, of like they're not swooping in, maybe you're now swooping in, or maybe
Yeah.
you thought a partner would save you out of like a particular thing, and then you guys break up and now you're stuck with that thing all by yourself. And I think life shows you over and over again that like no one will save you, but the really amazing thing is you have a capable, loving, trusting person who will.
Yep.
And that's you.
Yeah. Right there. Right there with you. Yeah. I mean, this commitment to the sobriety of reality
Yes.
is kind of like a hard pill to swallow, but kind of an essential pill to swallow if you're going to see your responsibility as empowerment. So, yeah.
I think as a therapist, my job is literally to show people their reality, like to act like a mirror. And I try to
Yeah.
do that every day. And I think now I'm tying it back in. This is like a therapy session for both of us. No, I'm
I
just
love
kidding.
it.
It's like maybe because my dedication to reality is something I think about all the time, being misunderstood is really painful,
Mm,
because he really goes against like one of my fundamental cornerstones of who I am and how I try to move in the world.
yeah. I like that too. You say like commitment to reality, and I think of it, the words that I usually use is like living in truth, living truthfully, speaking
Like,
truthfully, acting truthfully. Like when I try to figure something out, the question I ask myself is what's the most true thing here? Right? Like what's the most true action to take? What's the most true interpretation of what happened? Not like, "Oh, that person's mean," and, like, "What are they going through? What am I" let me kinda try and see it as objectively as I possibly can, and then make a decision that feels as true as possible. So I agree. Thank you. That is why I hate that, because I'm so committed to seeing other people for what they are, and when people just decide
mhm.
something based on no facts, that, like, cuts me to the core. So
Exactly.
we cracked the code.
We
I love
cracked
it.
the code. We did it. We solved everything.
Amazing. I'm going to wrap up because if you let us go, we can go for hours. That is what we do. We just melt time in our conversations, but all of you have lives to get back to and things to do. So I want to thank you so much for being on. It's on me. Highly recommend it. Also, Sarah's Substack, Notes from My Phone. I think both of us do not the same thing, but similar things in our Substacks where they're small insights that try to help unlock these little things where you're like, oh, I never thought about it that way before, or I never approached it that way before. So much from a micro practice, like, oh, I see this a little bit more clearly. So both of us kind of, I think, do it in very different ways, but I highly recommend. I always read every single Substack post you write, and there's always a really great nugget in there. And so I want to thank everyone for joining us. If you're not subscribed to Sarah's Substack, subscribe. If you're not subscribed to mine, please
Vanessa's
do.
have to. It's like literally getting a voice note from your best friend. It is so cozy and enlightening and funny and real. So if you haven't, please do.
Yeah. I try to keep it light because I actually have a very heavy side to me, but as Sarah knows. But somehow, but somehow it's like I go really funny and really light and really heavy and kind of nowhere in between.
I love it. I
Yeah,
kind of love that. It's why we get along.
that's right. That's right. So thank you so much. I appreciate you so much.
Likewise.
I can't wait to see you soon. We're in the same city unusually right now, so we're gonna go play at some point. We're gonna make a plan to
Yeah.
play. But thank you so much, and to everyone who joined, I appreciate you. All my love. Bye.